Well, hello everybody. We are in week 5, and I'm going to be going over the financial analysis assignment. This is a fun one for me because it outlines, kind of shows the capabilities of Word. Word and Excel kind of merge together a little bit in this assignment. You could very easily do this assignment in Excel. We would know if you did, but you could, and it would take a lot less time. But this just shows how you can create a table, how you can do functions in Word. So it's pretty fun to play around with. So this is the week 5 financial analysis exam assignment. And I'm going to go through the instructions here very quickly, and then I'm going to dig right into it. So what we want you to do is make a table that looks just like this one, and format, which means colors, the alignment of the text, and the numbers. And you'll notice that there'll be some instructions on getting the total and net revenue. So what we want you to do is create a 3 by 14 table, pay attention to the alignment of the text and the formatting of the text, and then we're going to insert some formulas, and then we're going to add a style to it, and we want to make sure that the text is centered correctly where text is centered. So this is going to be a fun one. We're going to run through this one. It goes pretty quick, and so let me know if you have any questions on it. So I am going to try this one with a split screen, see if I have enough real estate to make it happen for you. All right, so in Word, to create a table, we want to go to Insert, and then there's an option for Tables. Click that, and you notice that if I drag my cursor on these little squares, it starts to pre-make the table for me, which is awesome. I want a 3 by 14 though. You notice that the highest it goes is 3 by 8. So what I want to do is click on Insert Table. I am just going to say I want 3 by 14. Number of columns 3, number of rows 14. Don't worry about the rest here. Just click OK. And magically, I now have my 3 by 14 table. Unfortunately, we do not have the data for the table pre-populated in another format for you, so you just have to manually type it in. But through the magic and wizardry of everything that I try to prepare for, I already have a table prepared with the numbers. It's a 3 by 14 table, and it has all of the data that we need. So I've done that part of it. I've inserted a 3 by 14 table. Now I'm going to format the text and align it the way it needs to be. First thing I want to talk about is a merge cell. In Excel, we do the same thing. You can have merge cells, which is basically taking, for example, these 3 cells at the top, merging them into one so that way you can have text that goes across all 3 columns. So if I highlight those 3 columns, these 3 cells in this column, and go to, we're going to go to Layout, and this is where I might be a little bit better to have a full screen, but there we go. So Merge Cells is located here. It's under Merge. And click that button, and all of a sudden the lines go away, and I can align this data if I want. I'm going to go full screen here so you can see what it looks like in your view. So we have these items up here with under the alignment. It's under Layout and then Alignment. And I can click this button and align that text to be centered in those merged fields. So then I'm going to do the same thing here because I know I want these merged, and I know I want it centered to match this. So you notice that JR Limited and Financial Analysis, they are merged and centered. Okay, we've got that done. Now I know that revenue and expenses, total and net revenue are going to be left aligned, and everything under expenses, in between expenses and total, are going to be right aligned. So what I'm going to do is revenue, expenses, total, and net revenue are already left aligned, so bonus there. Don't have to worry about that. And now what I'm going to do is right align facilities all the way down to miscellaneous. Again, I can just come up here and do right align, and that takes care of that column. And then we have the numbered columns. All of the numbers, the currency numbers, are going to be right aligned. So I'm going to highlight all of those cells, and I'm going to right align them. And then the years are going to be centered. So I'm going to highlight those and center them. All right. That gets us to just the alignment piece, and then we're going to work on these 4 numbers down here. at the bottom of the table. What we want to do is get a total of all of these numbers. And then again on this column, the total of these numbers. So I am going to click my mouse in the total cell right here underneath 2019. Come up here to go to Formula. And it defaults to want to do a sum above, which basically means it's going to do a summation or a adding of all of these numbers and put them in. It's going to default to currency, but you can come here and go to number format and choose the different number format if you want. But if you notice, if I just click OK, automatically adds everything up and puts it in the correct format. Awesome. So I'm going to go over to the field to the right, which is under 2020, the total field. Go to Formula again, and it already has the correct formula, which is sum above. Click OK, and there we go. Now, what we want to do is get the net revenue, which is going to be revenue minus this total. So it's going to be this number up here minus this number. That's going to be our net revenue. So what we want to tell the formula is to subtract this cell, which is B, because just like in Excel, this column is A, and this column is B, this column is C, and then we have the row numbers. So this is row number 1, 2, 3, and so on. So I know that revenue is B4. This one right here is B4, and this one is B13. So if I just count it out, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and just keep counting. That'll give me my cells. So I will put my cursor in net revenue for 2019. Click on Formula. So basically my cursor is in B14 here. Click on Formula. And I'm going to get rid of the sum above formula and keep the equal sign. So it's going to be equal, and it'll be B4. Remember, we want to have the total revenue minus B13. And uppercase, lowercase, it doesn't matter, but I like to keep things the same, so I'm going to keep them uppercase and click OK. And what that has done is taken this number and subtracted this number and automatically formatted it for me. Now I'm going to come over here to the net revenue, the blank net revenue field for 2020. Click on Formula, and this one is going to be C4 minus C13. The reason why it's C is because this is column C. This whole column is C. Remember, we have A, B, and then C. So now I have all of my numbers correct, and they are aligned in the proper alignment. And then if I look at the assignment, it states that it will now want us to do something extra. So we did the cells in B13 and C13 to get the totals. We inserted the correct formula. Now we need to apply a style, and this style is going to be very specific. It is grid table 4 accent 2. If you do that style, it'll come up with these colors. However, if you're using a Mac, it may not come up with the correct colors, but it should come up and look something similar to this. Just let us know if you're using a Mac and the colors didn't come out right. That's totally fine as long as it looks very similar. Maybe a different gradient of color is totally fine. So we're going to apply grid table 4 accent 2 style. The way we do that is that we are just going to put our cursor anywhere in the top of the table. We're going to go to table design up here at the top, and then we have our table styles up here that we can select. If we click the little arrow with a line above it, it's going to give us a drop down of all of the available styles. We know that we want a grid type, so it's going to be grid, and I know it's this one. It's grid table 4 accent 2. If you hover your mouse over any of them for a few seconds, it will tell you the name of that particular style. So if I go to this one, it'll say grid table 4 accent 3. That's not correct. So I want grid table 4 accent 2. And if I select that, magically everything changes with the proper colors, and we have some bold in our text. However, we have some changes that we need to make, a little bit of tweaks that we need to make to this. We know that the top where it says JR Limited and where it says financial analysis, they need to be a little bit taller. And the items under expenses, so between expenses and total, those need to not be bold. So they just need to be regular text. So the first thing we're going to do is unbold, if that's a word. I'm going to say it's a word. You can either do it through a key command, which is Control B. So if I do Control B, it'll unbold it. Control B rebolds it. Or you can go to Home and just deselect bold. Either way works. All right, so we are getting very, very close. We want to make sure that the height of this cell, so if you come up just below the bottom of the cell, your mouse changes to little arrows with 2 lines in between. That means that you can adjust the height of that. So I can drag that. Just get it close. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're just trying to see whether or not you know how to adjust the height of a cell. And then we're going to do the same thing here for financial analysis. That looks about the same. But you'll notice that the alignment of the words, JR Limited Products and Financial Analysis, in my working document right now are aligned to the top. So what you want to do is highlight these 2 cells, go back to Layout, and over here in Alignment, you have 9 options. The top are going to align things to the top, the middle will align things to the middle, and this bottom row will align things to the bottom. So if I did this, now they're aligned at the bottom. But we know our example, we need to align it to the middle. So select that, now we're aligned to the middle. Very, very close. Now we just need to adjust the text size for these top 2 because they're a little bit larger than the rest. We'll give them a 14. That looks close. As long as we see that you've modified that, that's great. Now the final step is adjusting the column widths. You notice that this is a pretty narrow table, so mine is pretty wide. You can do it in multiple ways. You can come up here, you can drag and modify these, or you can just go in between where the lines are, take your mouse and adjust it. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one, column B, and I'm going to do the same thing with column C. And when I do that, it gets it pretty close. Again, we're not giving you very specific details about, oh, it needs to be exactly this wide or that wide. We're just trying to see if you know how to adjust the column width. There we go. Pretty spot on, if you ask me. I'm going to put that there. I'm going to put that one there. You can see the difference between the 2. Looks pretty close. And I was doing that in real time with you. Please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Some students struggle with the adding and the subtracting down here in the formulas. I'm more than happy to help out with that. But feel free to reach out if you have any questions. Look forward to seeing your examples. You guys are doing great. Take care.